Hello, YouTube. It's time for a video. So, real quick, before we get into it, just wanted to let you know that I just posted a vlog over on the Patreon. So, if you want like a more in-depth, kind of personal look at what's going on with me right now, you're welcome to go over there. I'm trying to post more over on the Patreon because, it's the thing to do. It's the thing to do. But anyway, this video is not about that. This video is about shifting priorities and what I'm planning on doing with the future of this channel. Give you a little update, I posted a rant video earlier this week that like 40% of the people who watched it completely missed the point of what I was saying, and they filled in context that had nothing to do with what I was saying, and I just found myself really frustrated by it, And I did already tell you a couple weeks ago, a month ago, however long ago it was, that I'm getting tired of talking about trans issues anyway. I'm getting tired of talking about the loss of our rights all the time, and I'm getting tired of the fact that like I can't talk about other topics on this channel and expect them to perform very well. Oh, by the way, also here's another thing. I'm coming to you from my phone because my computer is dead right now. So, that's another reason why I'm kind of plugging the Patreon is like, hey, we're about to have to drop like a significant amount of money on getting my computer working, and like I'm trying to save up to move across the country. So yeah, if you're interested in helping with that, I think it's my GPU, but it could be my motherboard. So we're basically gonna basically like do some troubleshooting and maybe replace some of the most expensive components of my computer. Yay! So I am going to like it's just tough. Like I'm trying to figure out what to do moving forward, I'm getting so tired of this trans stuff. I feel completely powerless, like there's nothing to do. Whenever we talk about the trans stuff, we just go like, "Oh, well you got to vote." And like I am getting burned out on the voting conversation because I've been watching the entire time I've been paying attention to politics, things getting worse and worse and worse in spite of the fact that lots of people are voting, and having a bunch of Democrats in power and having it still suck ass, and things not getting better and things actually getting worse. And one of the things that I do think that people also don't seem to understand about me when I'm talking about all of this is like I've looked at the research around what's going to happen to the economy and like what's going to happen to the global population with regards to like accelerating climate change. There's going to be food shortages, there's going to be water shortages. This year broke the trend. It's like we're getting a little bit hotter each year, and this year broke expectations on how hot it was going to be. And this has been the case my entire life with climate change, that things always happen before the predictions. Like the predictions like, "Oh, we're going to get to this point of it's going to be bad at this time." And then it gets to that point of bad before the prediction. So for me, I care a little bit less about the trans specific politics, although obviously it's horrible. It affects me directly. It affects people I love directly. It's just like if you look forward 15, 20 years, what is going to actually make a difference, right? Like what is the focus going to actually be? And for me, in my opinion, the focus is going to actually be on much more basic levels of trying to survive, instead of like trying to survive politically with laws restricting your rights to medication and stuff like this. So I've been trying to figure out how to move forward. And one of the things that I'm doing right now is I'm going to start putting more energy into other stuff. I'm still going to be posting trans related content on this channel because that's my primary source of income, and I have to keep doing it. Like it's not an option for me to stop doing it right now because I'm not about to quit YouTube and go find a real job and like expose myself to COVID all the time. We're in a huge spike of COVID right now, by the way, if you weren't aware, like all over the country. One of the biggest spikes according to the wastewater levels. So yeah, I don't really feel that I have the option to go get a regular job. I mean, I might have to. Frankly, I might have to get a part-time job at a liquor store or something just to like supplement. But instead, first of all, you can find me on The Line, the Transatlantic Call-In show on Thursdays. I'm going to be on the next 2 Thursdays. I was just on yesterday, and I'll be on the next 2 Thursdays. So if you want to catch me over there accepting calls from transphobes and trans people both who are, well, and also sometimes allies who are like, how do I make this argument? It's a fun show. It's a good time. I am also gonna be putting more energy into my second channel, which is called At One Oasis Left. Thank you to, I think, Atreyu for giving me that idea for that channel name. It's a solid channel name. But I'm gonna be learning hunting, fishing, gardening, possibly foraging as well. And we're going to be talking about those things from the trans leftist perspective, because I think, obviously you think of hunting and fishing in particular as heavily conservative skewed topics and skills. And of course, a lot of the people that you find online talking about those things are probably going to be coming somewhat from that perspective. So it's like we're not going to stop talking about politics necessarily on this channel or that channel, but we are going to shift the primary focus. The primary focus is going to be like, what do we do? Like, how do we survive? How do we develop these skills? What are we going to do if you can't access such and such anymore? Because usually we get it shipped in from wherever. And also hopefully having a focus on, first of all, me. Thank you. Can you focus on me? Thank you. Sorry, we're coming from the phone right now until we figure out what's going, like, is there a temporary computer solution for my dead computer? I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm just like, dead monitors, cool. It's the GPU, I think, or it's the motherboard. Either way. Yeah, so, like, how can we mutually support each other given that things are going to get worse? Like, whether you agree with me based on what the research is that I've looked into, whether you agree with me that the economy is going to collapse in 15 years, or whether you agree with me that we're probably going to lose a centralized US government, before I'm 60, you don't have to agree with me about those things to know that if thousands of head of cattle are dying every summer and a bunch of birds are being culled for bird flu, and also, like, there were a couple summers ago, there were a bunch of chicken houses catching fire, like, these industrial factory type settings where you have these chickens packed in and they set fire because the electrical lines are not designed to run under the heat conditions that they're currently being exposed to. They're melting the insulation off of the wires and then catching shit on fire. Personally, that's my opinion as to why we're having so many agricultural fires. But, like, if you can't grow food in Texas and Oklahoma anymore because it's too hot and dry, and we are not yet establishing more agriculture in places further north. Like, this is the thing about, I've been talking about this forever. The way that we do things is reactive. So we're going to funnel a bunch of money into trying to make agriculture in Oklahoma viable. And, like, it's the same. It's like, who's going to buy these houses? Fucking Aquaman? Like, who's going to buy agricultural land that can't support agriculture anymore? Are we going to buy out those farmers and then sell them a new piece of land in Minnesota where it's actually the growing season will get longer and more prolific as it gets warmer in those places like North Dakota, South Dakota? Those places are going to be more fertile and agriculturally supportive, right? But the thing is about moving so much agriculture up north, and the fact that so there's going to be a period of time where there isn't very much, like, food being produced, or not as much food being produced, and the population is going to be still hypothetically growing until we get to a point where there are mass shortages, and then a bunch of people, passing away because of natural disasters and all kinds of stuff. Like, not going to be a good time, basically. And I'm not saying that to be doomer. I'm saying that because I'm like, I'm preparing. I'm preparing for what's going to happen. It doesn't it doesn't like freak me out because I have a plan and I have the means to execute that plan. And I know that not everybody does. And that's probably the scary part for a lot of people is they're going, "Oh my god, well, I live in Texas. What am I going to do if the grocery stores don't have any food here because we have to ship in all of our food from elsewhere where there is functional agriculture and therefore the prices are much higher, so maybe there is food in the grocery store but I can't afford it." It already is the case that there are people I've seen on Reddit who are like, "Yeah, I taught myself how to hunt rabbits and I've taught myself how to recognize some of the herbs and other plants near me so that I can forage because I can't afford the food in the grocery store." Like that's already occurring, whether you want to attribute it to price gouging or climate change. Both of those things are going to continue to be a factor. So like, yeah, I'm a problem solving oriented person. If I keep talking about issues that don't have a solution, I'm just going to get really annoyed. And I would rather feel like I'm accomplishing something. And again, like I think that it's a lead from example type thing where I want you all to be like, "Oh, look, I could learn how to forage. I could learn how to hunt." I mean, a fishing license in my state of Kansas is only like $27. You don't need a you don't need any kind of class or anything. If you want a hunting license, that's also about $27 and you do have to take a hunting class, but you can, if you're in Kansas, you can do it all online. And like then okay, it's a matter of like it's $30 or so for a kind of cheap fishing reel. Like, okay, so if you have $60, you now have the ability to save yourself the money in the future. If you budget for that and you're like, okay, well, I know that I like this $60 is going to hurt me right now, but then I won't have to buy as much food from the grocery store. Obviously, be safe about how much fish you eat. You really should only eat fish like once a week because of the mercury. But yeah, so again, I'm trying to come at you with actual solutions. So I'm going to be posting more on One Oasis Left, and I'll probably post like clip content from that channel over here to try to drive traffic over there because obviously that channel is much, 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 much smaller than this one, and it's going to struggle to find its audience probably for a bit. So, I mean, if you are trans or leftist or progressive or whatever, and you are interested in survival skills and seeing how this journey goes for me as I work toward getting like basically a homestead situation and then start posting about that. Like, hey, oh, we just moved onto the land. Here's the area where I'm planning on putting the chickens. Let's sit here and talk about bird flu and like why eggs are so expensive right now, for example. We're still going to be talking about that politics stuff that's relevant to the survival skills. And like, that's me informing you about why things are the way that they are and why things are going to continue trending the direction that they are, but also equipping you with like knowledge and skills, hopefully, as I develop my knowledge and skills. And, me and my partner both are learning different types of specializations. And, I'm interested in learning about like, okay, like how if I can't buy ibuprofen at the store for some reason, is there some other like herbal pain relief, whatever? Because basically every medicine is based on some kind of herb, but it has just been refined and concentrated. So there's lots of stuff. Tea tree oil is antifungal, antibacterial, and antiviral. So like tea tree oil, it can be really good, for getting rid of your athlete's foot or whatever. Like, I'm just saying as an example, there's lots of different stuff. And each thing has its own set of whatever. If I'm going to keep bees, then all right, we're making beeswax and there's bee bread and, Like there's different aspects to it, and you can end up producing different products, and those products can be useful. And if we can, if I live near other people who are also producing these things, like I'm moving to probably Oregon. So if I live nearish other people, I already know one person who lives in Oregon and has a homestead situation. So cool, if we live anywhere near each other, then if I produce this and you produce that, we can trade it. And that's part of why I'm moving to a place that is agriculturally stable and climate stable, because I don't have to worry about like, oh no, it's too hot for my crops now, or there's too much direct sun on my crops. Now I have to buy a shade thing, So anyway, I'm still going to talk about trans issues on this channel because that's literally how I make my money, and it's how I'm going to support moving forward into these other things. But if it seems like I'm bummed out or like uninterested, this is why. Because it just feels like a futile, like, why are we even talking about this? So if you join my streams, we spend like 2 solid hours of the 4-hour stream just shooting the shit and talking about whatever. And the flow of conversation comes and goes. And sometimes we're talking about serious stuff, and sometimes we're talking about shit that doesn't matter. And then I'll sit down and do like 2 or 3 segments for the show, for the channel, and then cool, I upload those, and I'm trying to think about it as little as humanly possible. And then I'm going to start spending more time outside, like hunting rabbits, learning how to identify plants, and fishing, and trying to pack my stuff and minimize my stuff so that I can make this 2,000-mile move. And, I'm probably going to post on Fansly more. If you want to see more guns and potentially side boob, I guess, I'll post on Fansly more. And yeah, so I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to keep posting, but like, I'm hoping that you will follow me over to the other channel so that I can be successful doing something that I actually care about, instead of just constantly taking psychic damage and not feeling like there's a solution to the problems. Because, like, yeah, every conversation I have about trans issues right now ends with, oh, by the way, Project 2025, make sure you vote. And it's just, there's a futility to it. I don't think I have to tell you to vote. I think everybody who's gonna vote is gonna vote already, and everybody who's not gonna vote is not gonna feel more like their vote matters if I tell you to vote. Like, it's your basic responsibility. Let's try to do other things. How are we spending time on the other 300 odd days of the year? So, yeah. Feel free to comment letting me know what you think, or if there's anything in particular you want me to cover on this channel or the other channel, please let me know. And please consider subscribing over on Patreon. Even if you go to the free tier membership, I post pictures and little blurbs over there, and I'm probably going to post over there more often, because there will sometimes be little tiny updates to my garden, for example, that I'm not going to make a full video about. But yeah, and like $1 a month gets you more pictures, and $3 a month gets you access to the vlog, where I talk more about my personal journey and like some of the things that I'm personally struggling with. If you saw the video from earlier this week that I have deleted, then you can hear some of my thoughts about why I deleted it in the vlog from this week. So feel free to check that out over on the Patreon. And yeah, so I appreciate y'all watching. Wish me luck on getting my computer back and running, and feel free to donate if you want to help with that. And you can also donate if you want to help me move. Like, the immediate problem is I have to get my computer up and running, unless I want to use like a backup computer that I would have to figure out how to transfer all of my files over and all my programs and everything. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate y'all listening to me. I hope that you are on board for the shift in content, and if you're not, you're still going to get the regular content you've been getting. It's just going to probably be less and less of my focus, and don't be surprised if I'm more and more irritated about it. Because I'm like tired of discourse. I'm tired of trying to appeal to people who don't care. I'm tired of trying to convince people who aren't receptive. I'm tired of being misunderstood. Like, I'm frustrated on a lot of different fronts. So, yeah. Uh, Again, you can check the Patreon if you want to get more details about like those particular things. But yeah, so thanks, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. And comment, and subscribe over on One Oasis Left, because that's the place where I'm gonna be. That's where my heart is right now. My heart is over on One Oasis Left. So, anyhow, thanks again. And I'll hopefully see you Sunday for a live stream. Good luck.